This matter was coming up for hearing today. All accused and counsel were present. This date was taken by consent. However, there were two applications. One application was by Mr. Mburu for accused 6. He expressed surprise that the matter had been given a hearing date in his absence. But however, looking at the court record, Mr. Ngarwa held his brief as he was indisposed. He applied for an adjournment, raising concerns about the COVID situation in the country. Several counsel addressed the court on the issue, and what came out clearly was that life has to go on, but at the same time, we take care of our own lives and those of our neighbors by adhering to the COVID regulations issued by the MOH. Through an engagement, the court, between the parties and the court, the following came out clearly: that counsels appearing for accused add up to 17. Accused themselves are 11. 2 of them are legal entities. There were 3 counsel for the prosecution and 1 from the EACC. This totals to about 32 people. The open space, according to the MOH regulations, can hold up to 38 people with sufficient spacing of 1.5 meters apart. Hence, on the issues raised on COVID, I make the following directions. Number 1, the court will adhere to the strictly to the COVID regulations as issued by the MOH. Only counsel, accused persons, and a number of media personnel to be allowed into the court premises. This means that as you come in, you'll be vetted by the police so that we control the crowd. Once a party takes a position, and even if that party moves out, no other party will be allowed to occupy that space unless expressly allowed by the court. I think that was raised by one of you. There is enough space to accommodate 32 persons involved in this case, but with permission of the court, a few can be added because we have more than 32. The court will try to host a screen to be used to access court by the parties who are not able to attend court, but this is optional. The link will be as stated in the course list. What I've learned after I penned down this ruling is that we are getting space up there in one of the courtrooms that can accommodate us. If possible, we'll get space because the screen cannot be carried down here. One of those courtrooms, otherwise the High Court is on vacation. I believe we'll get that. Mr. Busiaga applied for an adjournment contending that he had just been instructed and could not be able to prepare adequately to represent accused. That's accused 5? Yes. This was opposed vehemently by the prosecution. Ms. Jirma indicated that she was instructed in July and brought in Mr. Busiaga as a lead counsel. The court did a very thorough pre-trial in accordance with the requirements of Article 50 of the Constitution on fair trial. The accused, the court is aware, was supplied with all the necessary documents and has been attending the court all through. In the pre-trial, one of the conditions was that adjournments could not be allowed on the day of trial. There is an elaborate procedure to set aside a pre-trial order. That has not been done. However, for the benefit of accused 5, this court adjourns this matter to the next hearing date, that is tomorrow. It's for that reason the matter is being adjourned. So we'll proceed with the hearing tomorrow at 9 a.m. But let me be clear, I'm trying to get space up there, which is more comfortable, and maybe we can get a screen. I got the information just after July 2019, which means most of it has been done because most of this time we've not been here. So I will
2018 was coming before. Speaking for our team, first team, we have hoped that when another comes forward this morning, we will be able to give us a date to highlight for the submissions. You would note that we are preparing to call you the next Monday. So, Your Honor, subject to your directions, we'd rather that the matter be rescheduled for hearing or for highlighting submissions on any of those days next week or the early part of September.
And maybe, Your Honor, there could be. There are very many counsel, Your Honor. Thank you very much, Your Honor.
Your Honor, if it pleases you, Soweto, Ms. Julie Soweto, and Mr. Nelson Harvey, who is not together with us, and Nyawira. Where's Nyawira? Nyawira was somewhere here. She was cutting a load. Yeah, she's there, right there.
Good morning, Your Honor. My name is Nairobi. Yes, good morning, Your Honor. In that matter, my name is the fifth accused person. Jirma. 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 Jirma.
Oh, Jirma.
Yeah.
PW11.
Yes, Your Honor, I was caught by surprise. Because it is generally accepted that we are living in very dangerous times. Sorry, any platform. Many of us have stuck living a normal life of going to gym, to class, and whatever, any public gathering. Non-stop. During this outbreak, Your Honor, we have lost many colleagues. I personally have lost several colleagues who are very, very close friends of mine. We have also lost many other friends, colleagues. And with this wave now, the Delta wave, is even worse. We are told that all ICUs are full. And hospitals are full also of COVID patients. When Mr. Kiwani Mohoro, a very respectable senior lawyer, fell ill, he could not get a decent hospital. He died in White, in hospital in White. That one was taken at night. Who are not at the hospital. Well, I'm put it. 5 friends. Your Honor, by proceeding with this hearing, in these circumstances, we are playing Russian roulette with our lives. I don't want to play Russian roulette with my lives.
Yeah.
I'm saying by proceeding in these circumstances, during this time, we are playing Russian roulette with our lives. We are not even observing social distance in here. We are not. And we can't. Your Honor, any consideration such as, with all respect, Your Honor, congratulations for I'm saying any circumstances that have been cited for the hurried hearing of this matter cannot override life. It cannot override our life. I personally don't want to risk my life. I have many responsibilities. Cannot. It can wait. I've had countless matters where judges or magistrates have been transferred, especially, and they have come back and continued the matter, but Justice Mongo was transferred in Russia. Yes? Yes.
I'm just wondering, Mr. Guru,
Yes.
have you been vaccinated?
Yes, both. But at this such time.
No, I just
Yes,
want,
both.
because that is the only way of telling you.
Yeah.
Because it's now with us, we can't run away from there.
Yes. I was coming to, thank you very much, Your Honor, for reminding me about that point, which I also wanted to raise.
You are saying?
That until such time it is confirmed that all Kenyans have been vaccinated, we should not have public gatherings. We should not.
Istanbul, and before I finish,
Yes.
you know, you can only act on something that is enforceable.
That is,
How are you going to make sure Kenyans are vaccinated?
the Ministry of Health will announce it.
How are you going to, even in America where the leading democracy, I think you know where I'm heading.
Yes.
It's voluntary. It's voluntary. You can't force people to be vaccinated and apply first.
Or at least, and there are 2 vaccinations, both, I repeat both.
All Kenyans.
All Kenyans, or at least a line of that, at least a large majority of them are vaccinated. That in fact they have been vaccinated. That's the only time we should proceed for hearing a matter. I'm saying this in the interest of life itself. And even vaccination is not, although you can take it as something, it is still something, but let's have that confirmation that at least a majority of Kenyans have been vaccinated. And measures taken to ensure that whoever comes here is fully vaccinated. More than this spot. Your Honor, I understand your Honor is being transferred to Meru. that station. I used to bless you on that. I
Yes.
understand your order is being transferred to Meru. To head that station.
To what my colleague has raised, safe to add that, Your Honor, I've just been instructed to come in this matter. And I first met my client yesterday for discussion on this matter. I've not had a chance to review the voluminous documents, look at the proceedings, and be
In the month of July, Your Honor.
Your Honor, it is on that score that I make an application for adjournment to enable us prepare and guarantee.
For the hearing, because I should actually tell you how the court does its matter.
Yes, Your Honor.
You don't wait for the hearing date to apply for an appeal.
Your Honor,
Just because,
volume of documents before me.
yes,
And as you've stated, rightly stated, Your Honor, the application I'm making is that it's humanly impossible for me to prepare for a hearing and proceed now in the work of these voluminous documents. It will in fact be a breach of a fair trial against the accused person. The accused person, Your Honor, ought not to
Your Honor, may I the proceedings as on record? And I don't know if the proceedings have been typed because we just have a few witnesses to go so that we can be able to secure copies for ourselves.
In this particular matter, we have elaborate pre-trial sessions. And one of the fundamental and important directions personally to the accused persons. Number two, Your Honor, the accused persons were made to understand that at no one time during trial will an adjournment on the basis of changing the advocate or legal representative shall be warranted and that reason, Your Honor, shall not form or it shall not be sufficient, or that reason shall not be sufficient to warrant an adjournment to be done or to be applied for, Your Honor. Your Honor, the record speaks for itself that we have taken evidence of 15 prosecution witnesses who have been cross-examined at length. Your Honor, the fifth accused person consistently during the prosecution, pre-trial directions had always been referred to that as we are moving forward, the issue of seeking an adjournment on the change of an advocate or counsel shall not be entertained. You know, I've heard my learned counsel, Your Honor, highlighting or citing Article 50 of fair trial, Your Honor, this matter has 11 accused persons, Your Honor. Does one accused person whom decides to waive his right for legal representation override the rights of all the other accused persons? Fair trial includes, Your Honor, that a matter should be heard and, as you have correctly stated, Your Honor, that any other reason that is beyond the control of ourselves as human beings, including the legal counsels and the accused persons, those are the reasons, Your Honor, that would warrant a matter to be adjourned. So with all due respect, Your Honor, I was quite perturbed that such kind of an application or even an attempt would be made at this particular juncture, Your Honor. And therefore, Your Honor, the court should not be held at ransom. Instructions were given in the month of July. Your Honor, we have been having virtual sessions, virtual mentions. For over a period of almost 2 years, Your Honor, since when we stood on the witness. That is in September 2019, Your Honor. And therefore, with all due respect, Your Honor, we oppose that application. You know, on the other, on the issue of COVID, Your Honor, my learned senior stated, and it went on record, it is a personal issue, Your Honor. Indeed, it is true that we are in the middle of a pandemic that has not discriminated either of us. We are at the point where we are at, Your Honor. This pandemic, this COVID-19 has affected, at most, if I may speak for myself, persons whom we know, whom we've related with, including, Your Honor, a colleague of ours, the late deceased Mr. Okello. So that, Your Honor, indeed, also for the prosecution, we cannot turn a blind eye. On that mission of the prosecution, that this is an issue that all parties should agree or have a consensus on how we intend to move forward in the circumstances that we are in, Your Honor. One, that would include confirming or agreeing whether the environment that you are in, the facility that you are in, facilitates us within the MOH protocols, Your Honor. Within the MOH protocols that have been outlined to enable us proceed in those circumstances, Your Honor. Number two, Your Honor, it was by consensus, Your Honor, that from the numerous virtual mentions that you have had, and my learned senior, Mr. Mburu, was always represented, we adjourned this matter on numerous occasions, Your Honor, for various reasons that included some of the accused persons who were indisposed, not being able to participate even in the proceedings. Your Honor. And the date that we are here in court, Your Honor, it is a date that all parties agreed. Agreed, knowing that, yes, we are in the middle of a pandemic, but we come up with parameters, Your Honor, that will ensure that we do not expose ourselves. Parameters that will not put either of us at risk, whether it is the prosecution, the defense, and the accused person. And therefore, we are before here, Your Honor.
Yeah.
We are before you here today. Proposal that, Your Honor, that we have hearing dates that are already there. We agree among ourselves, Your Honor, that the councils, Your Honor, the councils who should be on their feet should be within spaces that meet the MOH protocols, that is 1.5 meters, Your Honor. Who are not directly participating in the proceedings. You know, the other matters that are ongoing, the other cases that are ongoing, so personally, Your Honor, had looked forward that in this year we will not be having even these barriers that you're talking about. So, Your Honor, it is for us to come up with mechanism parameters
She informs me that under these conditions, she ought to have masks. She's wearing, I think, 3 masks. And as you notice, she keeps on moving out from her sitting position to get some fresh air and come back. So she should not